There is a door in the Vatican that few have dared to open. Behind it rest secrets that could change the way we view history, faith, and even humanity. Did you know that some of the world's most mysterious and forbidden books are hidden there, far from the public eye? And what if I told you that among them are manuscripts that could shake the very foundations of the Catholic Church? Welcome to Unholy Secrets, the channel where we reveal the deepest and least discussed mysteries of the Catholic Church. If you are fascinated by secrets and stories that seem straight out of a thriller, you're in the right place. The Vatican Library is much more than a collection of books. It is, in fact, one of the largest repositories of knowledge in the world, with documents dating back centuries. But what makes it so fascinating is not just its vastness, but its secrecy. There are over 85 kilometers of shelves containing works that few have been allowed to see. Among them are forbidden manuscripts, texts that contradict religious doctrines, and even records of practices that the Church prefers to keep forgotten. Imagine manuscripts containing ancient rituals, secrets about suppressed heresies, and even documents that contradict the Scriptures as we know them. Today, we will explore some of these books that remain shrouded in mystery. Books that talk about lost exorcisms, manuscripts written in languages no one can decipher, and even records documenting historical conflicts between science and faith. But before we begin, a suggestion. If you enjoy exploring these intriguing topics, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. This way, you won't miss any of our videos about the mysteries the Catholic Church prefers to hide. Now, take a deep breath and come with me to uncover the deepest secrets of the Vatican Library. The Codex Vaticanus, one of the oldest and most important manuscripts in the world, is often considered the greatest treasure of the Vatican Library. Dated from the 4th century, it is one of the oldest complete copies of the Bible in Greek, encompassing both the Old and New Testaments. While it is widely recognized by the academic community as a historical gem, the mystery surrounding it goes beyond its religious and literary value. Little is known about the exact origin of the Codex Vaticanus. Its history before being recorded in the Vatican Library remains obscure, and scholars speculate that it may have been produced in Alexandria, Egypt, one of the great centers of early Christianity. However, the true enigma lies in how the manuscript was preserved for so many centuries, especially during periods of intense conflict and religious persecution. Could it have been protected by a network of secret monks or special orders within the Church, aware of its immeasurable importance? An intriguing feature of the Codex Vaticanus is the fact that it contains various omissions and alterations in relation to other biblical versions. Certain books of the New Testament, such as Revelation, are missing, while parts of other texts have been omitted or modified. These differences have raised questions over the centuries. Were they transcription errors or deliberate changes made by the copyists? The absence of Revelation, in particular, has led some theorists to question whether the Codex originally included the text, but it was removed for reasons still unknown. Could there be something in Revelation that the Church feared exposing to the public? Furthermore, there are signs that the Codex Vaticanus was revised several times after its initial production. The margins of the manuscript bear marks made by later revisers, indicating changes to the text that may have been made to align the contents with the doctrines of the time. These revisions have fueled theories that the document was used as an instrument of ideological control, shaping the interpretation of the scriptures to serve the interests of the Church. Such alterations made in the margins or even within the body of the text are seen as evidence that even sacred texts were not immune to human intervention. Another layer of mystery surrounding the Codex Vaticanus involves its restricted access. For centuries, the manuscript was available only to a select group of scholars, and even today, access to the original is tightly controlled by the Vatican. Why such secrecy around a text that should be one of the pillars of Christian faith? Some speculate that it may contain passages or commentaries that contradict modern church teachings, which could shake the faith of millions of believers. Others suggest that the Codex holds encoded messages or clues about alternative interpretations of the scriptures. The Codex Vaticanus, besides being an invaluable historical artifact, is a symbol of how the history of the Bible is marked by mysteries, controversies, and human choices. It remains a reminder that sometimes what is not said or written can be just as powerful as what has been recorded. And in the case of the Codex, its gaps and alterations make it clear that the sacred scriptures are also part of a long history of control and power struggles. Among the countless manuscripts that supposedly lie deep within the Vatican Library, few spark as much curiosity as the enigmatic Book of Lost Exorcisms. This text, whose existence is officially denied by the Church, is the subject of countless theories and legends. It is believed to have been compiled centuries ago, gathering exorcism rituals considered dangerous or forbidden, practices that, rather than protecting against demonic forces, might open doors to something much darker. Unlike the Ritual Romanum, which is still officially used by the Catholic Church today, the Book of Lost Exorcisms would be outside of any official protocol. Reports suggest that it is a compilation of arcane rituals dating from times before Christianity became the dominant religion in the West. Some sources suggest that its pages contain invocations based on pagan traditions, ancestral formulas that were absorbed and adapted by early Christianity in its struggle to consolidate spiritual power. There are rumors that this book was banned and hidden precisely because of its controversial content. Some of the practices described in it, according to reports, involve not only prayers and blessings, but also symbols and gestures taken from cultures deemed heretical by the Church. These rituals would not only invoke the power of God to expel evil entities, but would also call upon forces of dubious origin, including the invocation of fallen angels or even dark spirits. An intriguing detail about the alleged book is that it is said to have been mentioned in internal church documents. Some records of exorcism cases from the Middle Ages, which surfaced centuries later, make vague references to a forbidden text that was used by dissenting priests in moments of desperation. These exorcisms, however, often ended in tragedy, such as unexplained deaths or the worsening of the supernatural phenomena they sought to contain. The legend of the Book of Lost Exorcisms also mentions that it does not only deal with expelling conventional demons. Supposedly, it includes rituals aimed at much older and more dangerous entities. These forces, described in fragments as primordial spirits or shadows of the ancient gods, would be remnants of a power that predates even the Christian conception of evil. The very knowledge of these entities would be something the Church would prefer to keep buried, fearing that it could challenge the foundations of the Christian faith. Although the Vatican denies any official record of the existence of this book, the question many ask is, why such secrecy? Could it merely be an attempt to protect the world from potentially dangerous practices? Or does the Church fear that the content of this manuscript reveals something that would undermine its spiritual authority? The mystery remains, fueled by the few fragments that escape the Church's strict control and by the stories told by those who allegedly had access to the manuscript. If it truly exists, the Book of Lost Exorcisms may be more than just a manual of forbidden rituals. Perhaps it is a glimpse into a side of history the Church never wanted to be known. The Liber Linteus, or Book of Linen, is one of the most mysterious and intriguing manuscripts in the Vatican Library. It is unique not only for being written on an unusual material, linen, but also for its origin and content that continues to challenge scholars. Unlike more well-known ancient texts, such as those written on papyrus or parchment, the Liber Linteus was made on linen fabric, making it a rare artifact. This fact immediately raises the question, what could be the purpose of writing such an important book on such a fragile material? The story of the Liber Linteus begins in the 19th century when it was found in Egypt, used as part of a mummification wrapping. How did such a precious, potentially religious text end up being reused to embalm a body? This unusual fact only increases the mystery surrounding this manuscript. The fate of the Liber Linnaeus presents us with a puzzling story of preservation and the repurposing of something that was likely considered sacred or valuable. Written in Etruscan, an ancient and extinct language, the Liber Linnaeus presents a linguistic enigma. Although some words and phrases have been translated, the full text remains almost entirely undeciphered. Etruscan is a language that, despite the efforts of scholars, continues to be a major challenge for understanding. This characteristic of the book only increases its appeal, as it serves as a key to accessing the knowledge of a civilization that disappeared long before the rise of Rome. Scholars believe that the Liber Linnaeus is a ritual calendar or a manual of religious rituals of the Etruscans. Its connection to the religion and customs of this ancient civilization is a crucial aspect of understanding its significance. However, the doubt remains. What exactly does it contain? Could it be secret rituals? There are theories suggesting that the book could provide crucial information about spiritual practices and beliefs that might challenge the traditional narrative of religious and cultural history, especially regarding the Romans and even Christianity. In addition to its connection to Etruscan religion, the fact that the Liber Linnaeus was found in Egypt raises further questions. Egypt, with its rich spiritual and religious tradition, may have been a point of contact between cultures, and the presence of an Etruscan text in an Egyptian tomb suggests a connection that goes beyond mere coincidence. Some believe it may have been brought to Egypt by Etruscan travelers or merchants as a symbol of power or wisdom, making its journey even more fascinating. As is common with many historical documents of the Vatican, the Liber Linnaeus is not accessible to the general public. Speculation about the full content of the manuscript fuels theories that it could contain esoteric or secret knowledge, which might challenge or even subvert the prevailing religious traditions. The Vatican, with its strict policy of control over historical documents, is often accused of keeping certain texts secret to prevent disturbing information from reaching the public. The Liber Linnaeus represents more than just a book. It is an enigma of history. Its survival over the centuries and its connection to ancient cultures that were largely erased by history makes it a symbol of something lost and mysterious. The fact that so many questions remain about the book's meaning, origin, and ultimate fate only adds to the fascination surrounding this unique and invaluable relic of the Vatican Library. Galileo Galilei, one of the greatest figures in the history of science, has a deep and mysterious connection with the secret records of the Vatican Library. Considered the father of modern science, Galileo not only revolutionized astronomy with his discoveries, but also faced harsh accusations from the Catholic Church, which condemned his ideas as heretical. The Vatican, with its powerful influence over the religious and scientific knowledge of the time, played a crucial role in the persecution of Galileo, and the records about him, still tightly guarded today, remain a fascinating subject of speculation. Galileo was condemned by the Inquisition in 1633, accused of heresy for supporting the heliocentric theory of Nicholas Copernicus, which stated that the Earth revolves around the Sun, rather than being the center of the universe. The Church, at that time, upheld the geocentric view, supported by Aristotle and Ptolemy, and any theory that contradicted this doctrine was seen as a direct attack on the authority of the Church. After a tumultuous trial, Galileo was forced to publicly renounce his theory and spend the rest of his life under house arrest. However, what few know is that there are secret records related to Galileo stored in the Vatican Library that have not been fully accessed or disclosed. Many of these documents contain details of Galileo's trial, and it is speculated that these records not only confirm the harsh treatment of the scientist, but also reveal how the Church dealt with scientific dissent at a time when the struggle for control over knowledge was central. The secret records about Galileo may include letters, reports, and correspondence exchanged between high-ranking church officials and members of the Inquisition. Some believe that there are documents detailing the Church's attempts to discredit Galileo and even maneuvers to suppress the scientific evidence he presented. Some say these records may also include internal debates within the Church regarding how far they should allow the dissemination of his discoveries and theories, fearing a loss of their authority. The issue becomes even more intriguing when considering the fact that the Vatican, over the centuries, has been the guardian of vast archives, many of which remain secret to this day. The Church has historically been accused of hiding crucial documents that could change the historical understanding of certain events, including the treatment of Galileo. The revelation of these records could not only shed light on the true nature of Galileo's trial, but also on the Church's methods of controlling science and intellectual freedom. The fact that, even today, these records remain sealed and out of public reach only intensifies the fascination with Galileo and the history of the struggle between faith and science. How long will the Vatican continue to keep these documents secret? And what exactly is contained in them? These are mysteries that continue to pique the curiosity of scholars and those interested in understanding the historical conflicts between scientific knowledge and religious authority. Throughout this video, we've explored some of the most mysterious and secretive books and documents in the Vatican Library, revealing a hidden side of the Catholic Church that has remained concealed in the shadows for centuries. From the Codex Vaticanus, one of the oldest and most enigmatic manuscripts in the world, to the records on controversial figures like Galileo Galilei, we've seen how the Vatican often deliberately guards knowledge that could forever alter the history as we know it. The Vatican Library, more than just a simple repository of religious texts, is a true labyrinth of mysteries spanning centuries of history, science, philosophy, and even power struggles among church leaders. With every new mystery unveiled, we become more intrigued by the immense quantity of documents, theories, and accounts that the Vatican still keeps secret, waiting to be revealed. And the big question that remains is, why does the Church continue to keep these precious documents hidden? What is so important about these books and records that they must be kept away from the public eye? The answer may lie deep within the history of the Vatican itself and how the Church, over the centuries, has controlled knowledge and manipulated the narrative of truth. In times past, this meant absolute power over society, science, and even religious belief itself. And to this day, the Vatican has been a center of knowledge control, deciding what can be said, what can be believed, and above all, what cannot be revealed. What more could be hidden on these ancient shelves? What secrets might be waiting to be uncovered? While most of us will never have direct access to these archives, it is undeniable that these mysteries provoke us, challenging the way we view history and the relationship between faith and knowledge. Now, more than ever, it is up to us to reflect on what is still hidden and what could be revealed, changing our understanding of the past and perhaps even the present. If you were as fascinated as I was by these mysteries, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave your like and comment on what you think is hidden in the Vatican's archives. And if you want to continue your journey in search of more secrets, click on the video that is showing on the screen right now. See you next time.